Nemojte se čuditi, dragi moji, što posle masakra u Beogradskoj školi slušamo o tome kako neka deca nemaju osjećaj empatije, brižnosti, saosećanja. U razumevanju ove teme možda će nam pomoći da razumemo bolje ovaj problem intervju poznatog psihologa Gordona Neufelda i dr. Gabor Matea, čuvenog psihijatra, koji je dugo godina radio sa najtežim heroinskim zavisnicima.
First of all, we share emotion with all other mammals. Now we know about the limbic system, the emotional brain. And we do share emotion with all other mammals. But humans have the capability of feeling their emotions. And it turns out that feeling our emotions is very necessary, especially for caring. And we hear so many kids these days say, I don't care, doesn't matter, whatever. These are the same kids that don't say, I miss. These are the same kids who don't say, my feelings got hurt. These are the same kids that aren't saying, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm afraid. These are the same kids that research says to us, I've lost their blush when they're embarrassed. In other words, they've lost the tender feelings. The point is here, is for us to be able to feel our emotions, or we could call it a soft heart, being able to feel our emotions, have become equipped for a wounding environment. And that is exactly what I see happening with children today. It's not that children haven't learned caring. It's that many of them cared deeply at 2 years of age and 3 years of age, and they lost their feelings, their tender feelings. And the reason is, and it appears that more and more children are losing their feelings along with losing their caring, their embarrassment, their nervousness, because it turns out the brain is equipped to be able to defend us against a vulnerability that's too much to bear. So if our feelings are getting hurt too much, the feelings go back into emotion, into the unconscious, rather than something that we're aware of, especially, again, the tender feelings. When I was working with the kids in the prison system, it was amazing. They could eat and digest their food. They could sleep, many of them like babies. And they could concentrate. Most of it was how to get out of prison, but they could still concentrate. When I was there, I couldn't eat. I was sleepless. And I couldn't concentrate. I was rattled. They were equipped to function in a wounding environment like many of today's kids are at school, but at a great cost. These kids, when I did my straw research with them, they had 80% less feeling than other kids. They had lost their feelings. And that, to me, is the most significant issue. Not that kids have not been taught to be caring and considerate. It is that we're living in a world where children are losing their feelings. We're so busy trying to figure out what diagnosis they fit in and what the behavior problems and how to shape behavior. We don't even understand that they've lost this capacity that makes us fully human and humane, that we feel. And along with feeling is our hurt feelings, our missing feelings, and they're all part of the picture.
So what do we know about attachment now, and how does attachment to a parent fit into what you're describing as a wounded world?
Well, we all know what constitutes a wound, I think, with our loved ones, when we don't see the invitation to exist in their presence, in their eyes. Now you can imagine a child who lives with not having any confidence of the invitation to exist. They've been born in this, but are they invited to exist in the mother's presence, in the father's presence, in the big brother's presence, and all of this? Is that invitation there? If it's not, it constitutes a wound. Now you just continue that. If kids become attached to their peers, heaven help them. Because the more they matter, the more hurt they are by all the wounds they see, the lack of invitation, the conditions on that invitation. And so you can see very much how children if children were raised in a village of attachment where they could look in their grandma's eyes, in their parents' eyes, and see this, it was safe. They weren't getting hurt. There are many ways you get hurt, bumps and bruises, but at least psychologically there was a sense of safety. And now you just change the children being attached to their peers, and it just ups the ante. It's a wounding environment. In that environment, we should not be surprised to realize children are losing their empathy, their caring. And so we think that is something they haven't learned. But no, it's something that they've actually lost. The brain has its reasons. It needs to equip for a wounding environment. Care is to set yourself up for disappointment. But it's a result of our children losing their tender feelings.
Yeah, in some ways you think that if they have been vulnerable themselves, they would appreciate and see vulnerability in others.
No. Everybody's vulnerable. You're born vulnerable. You can't help be vulnerable. So we're all woundable. That's just our nature as human beings, from conception till death. So it's not a question of whether you were vulnerable or not. It's a question of whether your vulnerability was respected or not, whether it was protected or not, whether it was looked after or not. Because if you were wounded in your vulnerability, then one of the ways you'll respond is to actually shut down. And then you're not vulnerable, but you're also not compassionate. So the lack of compassion is always a repressed hurt, a hurt in your vulnerability.